the queen of research, of thought, of knowledge is philosophy, and not any field that we already have at the university. I'm vaguely aware that several important things that we do at this university are completely non-equivalent. Let's say comfort of life is not the same as quality of life. This is not the same as happiness. This is not the same as purpose or meaning or health. All these things probably mean something else, and some of them are individual, are more connected with individual people, some with societies of different scale. Some are more strongly affected by what we do at this university, like developing technology or knowledge. Some are probably less affected or affected in a different way. And all this is probably very complicated. And we often do contributions at every university inside of our disciplines. And somehow for this to have a meaning for the society outside, it has to somehow be connected and understood from a broader perspective. And I think that's why every big university should have also those connectors, like people from social sciences, from humanities, to somehow justify all those individual or local efforts, because they are, of course, immensely important, but for them to have a purpose and real impact and responsible impact, we need more. So with this, I'm happy that this conference is happening. I'm happy that the Faculty of Management is flourishing. I'm happy that you started your laboratory. I'm happy that you allowed him to start this laboratory and kind of devised it. And good luck with the conference.
Thank you, Professor. Here I would like to mention a quick thing. Since in the past 5 years, out of the past 5 years, 4 years, I had the pleasure of being in a unique initiative of our Wrocław University of Science and Technology. It's called Academia Ivenum. Professor Wu started it 5 years ago. And this is a very unique place because we have 48 people representing every scientific discipline of the university. And that is where our bandwidth or our mindset of having interdisciplinary collaboration across transdisciplinary collaboration fosters. And I had the pleasure to be there for years, so I could also say that craft is one of the things that came out of it due to the support of my colleagues. So thank you for starting that. We have a very special message from Dr. Michel Schaeffer. He's the president of the European Innovation Council, the board of the European Innovation Council. And I guess it would be also a pleasure for you to know that one of the first grants that this region has from European Innovation Council has been received by a researcher from our university, which was, I think, declared just the day before yesterday. Yeah, so we have the pleasure of having it. In August last year, we had the pleasure of doing the Startup Ecosystem Report, and I had the pleasure to interview Dr. Schaeffer for about 2 hours. And he said that he would love to see some grants coming to this region. And I guess we fulfilled how we should say, we fulfilled what he wanted. So he sent a message, which is about 8 minutes, where he highlights the theme of the conference. He was supposed to be here, but unfortunately, due to some engagement, he couldn't, so he sent a video message for us. So I would request the video message to be played, please.
Hello, Wrocław. I'm invited to be with you today, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do so. Hence, I give you a video message. But I want to do that because it's a fascinating subject. It's a fascinating subject to see how you connect social values, or you call it human values, with research, innovation, and development. I have a bit of two issues with it. One is that you call it human values, and as if it's one whole thing, while we know that, let's say, there are conflicting human values. For example, the value of order is conflicting maybe with the value of freedom, and the value of freedom is maybe conflicting with a value like equality. Fairness is a different assessment than equality is. So it's also important that, that's basically what politics is about, is to make choices within values, because not all values have the same weight for the same people. But let's keep the term of values, human values, as a container concept, because it's worthwhile to look at the connection between human and social values and innovation. And the two things we are struggling with as European Union, I think a lot of funders, is the human consideration something end of pipe? So you have developed the technology and in the end you wonder, oh, what is the human effect of it? Or are we able to design the social dimension, the human dimension, in the core of the project at the beginning? So have an assessment of societal scenarios first before we go into technology. What I've learned also in other events these months is that it always starts with a dialogue. So it always starts for bringing together social scientists, humanities scientists with the technical one. And that's not easy, because while people in languages are mainly polyglots, they don't understand polymers. And polymer scientists have difficulties of understanding the languages. So it is an effort to bring together those skills, those people with different ways of looking at things. And they are important, of course. I mean, with polymers, you also want to know how do they feel? How do they behave close to the body? Can you dye them? Can you give them a color that you like? So it's important to have the aesthetic dimensions and the functional dimensions together. So to be fair, as a European Union, we are struggling with those dimensions, because it's also difficult to imagine if you do an assessment of the values first, yeah, it may lead to having some technology directions followed and others not. That's affecting the work of people. So it's a debate. Currently now, I often say the social and human dimension is work package 7. Oh, by the way, we have to look at what is the social or human dimension. But that would not say that research is not human-centric or oriented towards solving problems of humans. I think that should be guaranteed, that basically any researcher thinks of the societal impact in defining their research and innovation strategies. And if they're not able to do that themselves, it is very useful to have units within the universities, and maybe CRAFT is that, to, let's say, to organize a dialogue, the challenging, the critical friend to, let's say, have you thought about the impact? And just to be more precise, one of the funding instruments we have as an EIC is called the Pathfinder. And the Pathfinder is basically you have a technology at a very small scale, which you think you may scale up and develop further, but we also ask you, when you submit a proposal for the Pathfinder, give us an insight in the societal impact. Not in the business model, not in your intellectual property protection policy, but give us a flavor of what you think. Why is this technology better than the existing one when it comes to breast cancer, protein feed, or quantum technology? So it's important to have at the onset that feeling of what does it mean to society to have it, and is it a better alternative to what we have? So that's in any proposal we expect for Pathfinder, a requirement. And when it moves on, we have two other instruments, the transition instrument, where we basically want to see those values and the societal impact translated into a business model. And when you move even further in the accelerator, which is basically the company existence, developing and commercializing the technology and industrializing the technology, there we also want you to be convincing in understanding the societal impact of the products you will sell, of the process of manufacturing you will develop, and let's say on the context, on the effect on the environment around you. So that's already, let's say, in the European funding policies, but also in the national policies. You asked me also to reflect what is on the role of the stakeholders. That's for us very open. What we say basically is you should involve the relevant stakeholders in your proposal and in your project. But how you do that is basically up to you as an applicant or up to you as a laureate when you receive funding from the European Commission. There's no standard approach. And of course, it's much easier if you do a medical project. You have often a captive number of patients where you work with over several weeks, months, or even years for chronic diseases. So that's quite easy. But if you take a meat replacer, well, your interaction is somewhere between the supermarket moment and the cooking and the eating of it and the throwing away of the waste. So it's a much shorter process. But imagine if you are developing a quantum cooling system in a quantum computer. That's a small part of a big system. That's hard to define how you involve stakeholders. Or, for example, I was recently at a company making actuators, small pumps. How do you involve stakeholders in small pumps that are used in satellites or in airplanes? So it requires some thinking of how to involve stakeholders to achieve goals. And that also means it is hard to suggest one single solution to that. I hope I've been able to share some of my thoughts and doubts on what you will discuss today. I hope it is helpful. I would say it's important to have it in mind as a constant dialogue, as a constant exercise of understanding the language of the other, to find a common ground, to challenge each other, and I would say to challenge each other as critical friends, so basically to help to get to a better outcome. And it's very important, because you're here in Wrocław not the only one with that issue, it's very important to share also with others, with other universities, those challenges that you will discuss today. So let me wish you a good day, and I hope to see you again in another future.
So,
Hello, Wrocław.
oh, sorry, it was hello again from him. So he mentioned, we got this message in early March, and he mentioned this grant, the Pathfinder grant. And I don't know if you will be surprised, but you shouldn't be, because Politecnica is the one who actually got that grant. And we have Professor Sławomir Porada from the Faculty of Management who received this grant. So we are very proud of that. Right, so now we move to having our keynote speakers, and we have three very important keynote speakers. And to emphasize, I would also like to mention that in the audience we currently have Professor Karolina Jaklewicz and Professor Piotr Młynasz. Professor Jaklewicz is taking care of the university's social side. Professor Młynasz is looking after the university's development side. So now we already have our rector as the overall leader, and we have leaders who are looking at the social and developmental side. That's why we have three speakers who are also from three different phases of the society. We have Professor Christina Garson, who is an academician from the university. Then we have Dominika Kavala. She is a business leader. And we have our deputy mayor of Wrocław, Jakub Mazur. So we are having three different perspectives, and they will be discussing about how we can crafting human values in research, innovation, and development. So I would like to mention a couple of things before I introduce our first speaker. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we have this platform from Capgemini. We have Michał Adamski, the head of Applied Innovation Exchange and the innovation director of Capgemini here. And what this, if you scan the QR code, what you will be able to have is a live summary of what the speakers will be saying. Of course, there is an AI at the back. You cannot have anything today without having AI somewhere. But it will also help us to transcribe all of the things that the speakers will say. And as I said, we intend to use it to create more resources for all of the stakeholders to benefit from the knowledge that our speakers are going to impart today. This session, as we have the support from Academia Europaea, and Professor Gaston is coming as a member of Academia Europaea, is here. So this session is also being live streamed on YouTube, so the actual thing will also be there, but we will also intervene and create more resources about it. Right, so I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Professor Garston. I will do it in brief because if I have to, with Veronica and Anya, we were discussing her profile and her research, and the level of influence that is there it would take maybe hours for me to describe it in the right way. So Professor Christina Garston is a professor of social anthropology at Uppsala University and president of Swedish Collegium for Advanced Studies. She currently serves as president of the European Network of Institutes for Advanced Study. She is affiliate fellow of Tokyo College, member of the advisory board of College of Fellows at Tübingen University, and member of the board of the Consortium of Humanities Centers and Institutes. She is also a member of Academia Europaea and the Royal Society of Sciences in Uppsala. Some of her book publications are Discrete Power, How the World Economic Forum Shapes Global Markets, Power, Policy and Profit, Corporate Engagement in Politics and Governance, and many, many more. So when we looked at the profile, we really, really wanted to have her with us, and she kindly accepted. Thank you so much for that. And I would like to invite her to deliver the first keynote of the conference. Madam.
So, Honorable Rector, Dean, dear colleagues and dear friends, thank you very much for this generous invitation. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. And the topic of the conference is not only timely, but it's essential. The shaping of human values within research, innovation, and development is not a peripheral matter, as we just heard. It's fundamental to how knowledge itself is produced and shared. My argument today is this: the crafting of human, and we can also say humane, values in research relies on the nurturing of our capacity to aspire. The capacity to aspire is not just a way to think about the future. It's not just a mechanism to plan and make strategies. It is an essential element in sustaining the very human values that underpin research. And especially so for the younger generation of scholars who are starting their or your academic trajectories in a much more turbulent world than was the case for my generation. The capacity to aspire speaks to something fundamental: our shared capacity to imagine, to anticipate, and to create futures together, collectively, to fill the near future with ambitions and not least visions. When our educational systems work at their best, they nurture a collective capacity to aspire. As my fellow anthropologist Arjuna Padarai, who coined the term, the capacity to aspire, reminds us, aspirations are never simply individual. They are formed in interaction in the very thick of social life. They are fundamentally collective. Arjuna Padarai describes this capacity both as a cultural and indeed a navigational capacity, something that allows us to explore possibilities and probabilities within our social worlds. The capacity to aspire sits at the very core of innovation and development. It is indeed an intrinsic human value. Could we ascribe that to a robot? To AI? Probably not. Would we want to? Certainly not. Without human imagination, there is no real innovation, Without aspiration, no meaningful progress, and not least, not the kind of responsible development that is shaped and guided by human values. So we are living in an era marked by complex global challenges. We know them too well. Escalating climate threats, deepening geopolitical fragmentation, financial instability, and increasing pressures on academic integrity and freedom. Our contemporary world is a world of enhanced friction. So describing the contemporary world as one of friction suggests a move away from earlier theories that I grew up with, that emphasized seamless globalization, fluid mobility, connectivity, and deterritorialization. Instead, the notion of friction foregrounds the persistence and even intensification of constraints, interruptions, and conflicts within global systems. Examples are many. Friction between ecological limits and economic expansion, friction between different institutionalized modes of thinking and acting, ideological polarization, frictions between digital connectivity and surveillance, to name a few. Most importantly, I would like to say, we are experiencing a temporal friction. A temporal friction between the demands of the immediate and the needs of the long-term future. The near future horizon, the temporal space we can plan for and aspire within, appears to have been evacuated, as Jane Geyer, a fellow anthropologist, would have it. It has been evacuated. Time is often experienced as fractured. The future is difficult to plan for. Stock markets are jumping up and down in response to geopolitics or even now betting instruments. We've seen that during the last few weeks. We are caught up in the immediate, in times of acceleration and speed, to speak with two other social scientists, Thomas Hylland Eriksen and Hartmut Rosa. Or we are floating in a distant future in an intense anticipation of the Anthropocene, the apocalypse, or an AI-generated phantasmagoria. To bring in yet another scholar, Shoshana Zuboff, social psychologist, she would say that in the long run, we would be confronted with a future that we did not and would not choose, what she calls an accidental dystopia owned and operated by surveillance capital, but underwritten by democratic acquiescence, cynicism, collusion, and dependency. Those are her words. Jane Geyer's concept, to return to this, the evacuation of the near future, this describes a cultural shift where the immediate, calculable future, this is usually what we see as the next 5-year cycle, this has been replaced by a focus on the immediate present and a distant utopian or dystopian future. And this suggests a decline in rational midterm planning. So in place of a continuous linear future, we are increasingly living in what she calls a punctuated time, focused on specific, disjointed deadlines such as debt repayment or emergency management. At a larger scale, she suggests, this reflects a shift toward neoliberalism, where shock therapy market forces make long-term planning difficult, favoring constant, immediate adaptation. This shift diminishing It diminishes the capacity for structured societal or individual planning for the coming years. And it's often replaced by a focus on waiting or on an immediate crisis response. And moreover, we may start to develop a kind of anticipatory adaptation to pressing circumstances. And in the context of the crisis for academic freedom, we as researchers, educators, and university leaders may start to modify our work, our teaching, or our public engagements in anticipation of future restrictions, political pressures, or funding cuts, rather than in response to direct enacted policies. And this chilling effect on the organization of resistance, agency, or even on reflection may be, and already is, considerable. Anticipatory adaptation, as I would call it, is a key, often invisible mechanism through which the quality of research and education is diminished under the authoritarian pressure or political polarization. And this behavior we may see as a significant threat to the autonomy of higher education. It allows external, political, or economic pressures to dictate academic content without active repression. And in this landscape of overlapping crises, the question is no longer simply what we know, but how we choose to know, and with whom. How we practice knowledge creation, how we nurture cross-boundary interdisciplinary collaboration, how we keep our academic communities vital. If, as Jane Geyer and others suggest, we are living in punctuated time where the pressures from immediate concerns and crises may overshadow the near future, the future we can reach and aspire to shape, what resources are there to tackle this? How can we fill the near future with reachable, responsible goals and plans? As we in academia are struggling to do so, chilled, as it were, others are running ahead. Think tanks and futurists are offering future's readiness for a profit. And in my own research on scenario making and future foresight in Western think tanks, the art of anticipation is high on the agenda. Think tanks offer classes in learning how to be not future ready, but future literate for a high price. And I have myself taken some of these classes as an ethnographer, and also been given the title and diploma of a futurist. In these classes, participants learn how to read signals of change and how to connect these to patterns, to forms, to trends. But most importantly, they are learned how to shape their own futures and those of their organizations 5, 10, or 15, or even 50 years ahead. There is now a veritable market for future foresight. We see this in several think tanks in the Western world, but also globally. At the World Economic Forum, they have the Future Councils that meet once every year, at least in the United Arab Emirates, where the best of brains come together to anticipate and encourage each other to shape the future. The smaller Institute for the Future in California also offers these kinds of classes to leaders of corporations, of state agencies, and various types of organizations to become future literate. The near future may in this sense be seen to be unequally accessible. And Arjuna Padarai also reminds us that the capacity to aspire is unevenly distributed, and that those with greater resources are far better positioned to turn immediate opportunities into broader futures. And this matters. Many of us here speak from positions where that capacity has been and is nurtured within university departments, university leadership circles, institutes for advanced study, and other academic environments supported by resources, infrastructures, and mandates to decide. These positions come with responsibility. But we also know how fragile these positions may be. In recent years, we have seen resources for higher education and research shrink. Institutes for advanced study being closed, political pressures on universities are increasing, and tensions are rising. During my time as president of NETIAS, or NET-IAS, the European Network of Institutes for Advanced Study, we've had several developments in this direction. The Polish Institute for Advanced Study was closed down. We saw the removal of the Central European University from Budapest to exile in Vienna. And we've also seen how the composition of university boards has been politically interfered with. So also in Sweden, my own country, where the government in 2023 suddenly cut the mandate period of board members of Swedish universities to half, from 36 to 18 months, for security reasons, as it were. And not long ago, such scenarios seemed almost unimaginable. Today, we cannot sit comfortably at a distance. Threats to intellectual autonomy, to academic freedom, and to democracy are all around us. And these developments stand in stark contrast to the cosmopolitan and the forward-facing perspectives that many of us have worked to cultivate over the past few decades. So again, what can we as scholars, as members and leaders of research centers and universities do? How do we fill the near future of research, innovation, and development with inclusive humanist values? How do we, in our environments, cultivate the capacity to aspire? Within the NETIAS community, these challenges are central to our conversations. We ask, for example, what does academic freedom truly mean? How is it, or is it not, protected by law in our countries? And what happens to scholars at risk of prosecution or imprisonment? What of early career researchers facing precarious working conditions? We address these questions through working groups, sharing knowledge, comparing experiences across our countries, generating ideas that we can put into practice. But even here, difficulties emerge. Political tensions surface. Geopolitical conflicts are around us. Misinterpretations may happen, even among colleagues that we trust. We are all affected. Yet, as institutes for advanced study, we continue to provide a platform for discussions around how academic freedom and integrity can be nurtured and defended. We practice something we sometimes call academic diplomacy. Ever since the emergence of Institute for Advanced Study, beginning with the Princeton Institute for Advanced Study in 1930, to where Einstein went. It is in the DNA of our institutes to nurture the integrity of free, curiosity-based research and to uphold the basic principles associated with academic freedom. And this is a recurrent theme in our international network of Institutes for Advanced Study, the CIAS group, and in our European network. A number of scholars, among them Professor Helga Novotny, who is active in our circles, have argued that curiosity is the main driving force behind scientific activity. Limitless in its explorations, curiosity does not know beforehand what it will find or where it will lead, but it opens up for new and often unforeseen discoveries. Science needs autonomy to cultivate this kind of unimpeded curiosity. This is also how it may in the future respond responsibly to the needs of society. So in this landscape of overlapping and multiple crises, the predicaments, the very predicaments for knowledge creation are changing. So what does this require of us? Not just as institutions, but as scholars and leaders. At my own Institute for Advanced Study, the Swedish Collegium for Advanced Study, we are trying several things. One is to run a leadership program dedicated to strengthening the capacity of early career scholars to understand the present and to contribute to responsible academic leadership in the future. We want them to move beyond narrow disciplinary expertise to develop a broader understanding of how academic systems are governed. We want to expose them to broader trends in the academic landscape, to the structures, the policies, and the power dynamics that influence knowledge production, funding allocation, and institutional priorities. And this is a far cry from the managerial type of leadership programs that you otherwise are often exposed to. And with these insights, they are enabled not only to participate more meaningfully in academic decision-making processes, but also hopefully to critically evaluate and, where necessary, challenge existing frameworks. And moreover, cultivating leadership capabilities encourages these scholars to engage with questions of responsibility, transparency, and ethical conduct, which are foundational to maintaining academic integrity. Importantly, we believe the development of academic leadership also contributes to the preservation of academic freedom. By understanding governance structures and participating in institutional processes, scholars gain the agency to defend intellectual autonomy and to resist external or internal pressures. Another way in which we try to encourage young scholars to take part in working with other institutes across the world and to look at how humanities and social sciences may engage is in the program Human Futures, AI Transitions in a Global Context. This is funded by the Wallenberg Foundation and done in collaboration with the Swedish Collegium for Advanced Study, Tokyo College, and Stellenbosch Institutes for Advanced Study. And with this, we want to strengthen the role of humanities and social sciences in thinking about what AI will do to the creation of knowledge, to human life, to the relation between humans and tech. We want to encourage interdisciplinary exchange. We want to build capacity in this domain, and we also want to encourage network building. So, to conclude, in the best of cases, young scholars gain along the way confidence in being able to fill the near future with meaningful action. What we hope for is that they cultivate the capacity to aspire. In this sense, leadership may become not merely an administrative skill, but a form of scholarly engagement that reinforces the ethical and epistemic foundations of academia, that may foster not only human but humane values. Therefore, investing in leadership development is essential, not only for individual growth, but also for the sustainability, for the integrity, and for the freedom of the academic enterprise as a whole. And I've given you a couple of examples of how we can do this and how we can offer alternative ways of filling the near future and aspiring then the forces that I am studying have shown us. And this is a way for us to nurture our collective capacity to aspire, creating knowledge that endures, that serves humanity, and shapes futures that may truly matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Gaston. It was a range of targets that probably we should aim to achieve in the next decade or so. And the things that you have been doing is really amazing and inspiring. Thank you for inspiring us with that. So the next speaker that we will have is from the business side. And we have with us Ms. Dominika Kavala, 3M's Wrocław Super Hub Director. Dominika brings extensive expertise in managing complex technological processes with a focus on industrial product sector. Graduate of Sciences in Chemical Technology at Wrocław University of Science and Technology. She has over 20 years of experience in multiple production environments with mastery in quality management, Lean Six Sigma, and manufacturing operations management. Currently, Dominika is responsible for 3M Wrocław Super Hub, one of the fastest growing 3M production centers in the world, with over 9,000 products manufactured and 2,000 employees on board. As a tech enthusiast, she is dedicated to fostering a culture of continuous improvement and evolving manufacturing environments through sustainable and technical excellence. We are pleased to have you, and we invite you to please deliver your keynote.
Change the slides. It's here.
right here.
It's here. Okay. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. So I will try to give a short overview of this, what's going on in industry. So a little bit different approach as I graduate, this beautiful university. So I'm simple engineer who is just targeting to the development of the facility. So today I would like to talk about the values from the perspective of a factory, developing factory, where we are investing in automation and robots, and how it changed the way how we are taking the decisions and how we want to keep still the values in our mind. So let's think about big factory. This factory hires around 2,000 people, which are focused on automation. And when we think why we do it because we want to be more effective, we want to have higher speed, and we want to optimize our processes. But as well, something deeper is happening when we are thinking about the efficiency and speed. So something which we do not notice so frequently. Automation doesn't change how we work, it changes how we decide. And in current VUCA world, we are taking decisions every minute, every second on different topics. So when the decisions shift, values shift with them. So if we will look at very production-related examples. So in our factories, we are introducing new automated vision systems. Those vision systems are dedicated to improve the detection of the quality defects, but as well, they are implemented to improve safety of our employees. So it's supposed to help our operators to make the decision faster, and as well to be more accurate in the critical moments. So, of course, the system itself do it, but as well, at the same time, people stop to ask questions. They are relying on the system. They are not challenging the system. So they are not thinking why decision has been made, because the system makes the decision for them. And it's not because they are lazy, because they don't want to do it, but the system reacts faster than standard human being, and it's more precise. So in case of human, we are not able to do things so fast. So the quote which Einstein said, "The human spirit must prevail over technology," is very important. And today, this sentence feels more urgent than ever, because the real shift is invisible. It's not in the machines, it's in the decisions we are not longer taking. So, if we think about values, there are no statements. Values are decisions. So companies are talking about statements all the time and different type of institutions, and we do it. So how often do we hear safety first? We value transparency. People are key to our success. But real values appear only in the decisions, especially the decision taken under pressure. So when we often think values live in strategies, poster, or mission statements, but in reality, it only exists in actions. So if we can imagine the production line, and the production line is behind the schedule, the customer is waiting for the order. So the leadership team has two options: stop the line and fix the minor issue, or keep it running to meet the deadline without looking at the specification and the quality defects. So, but our poster on the wall says, we value safety. We want to take care about this, how our employees are working on the line. So, but the decision in this case can say something else. So another example is hiring algorithm, which filters candidates. It's fast, it's efficient, but it quietly removes people with non-linear career path. But on the web, on the company, you can see that the company value diversity, but the system says something else. So automation is changing the condition in which choices are made, which means it's changing the condition where value appears. So the question is, do we follow the values we defined? And if we think, what exactly changes when the system begins to decide? So there are three things. So first, control shifts, not from the humans to the machines, but from the operators to the designers. The person who built the system becomes the person who decides. So the decision that used to be made in real time by the human with the context is now made in advance, sometimes by somebody who never been in the environment where the decision later is done. Second topic is responsibility blurs. When something is going wrong, when something is not going according to the model, who made the decision? The answer is becoming more complicated. So was it operator on the line? Was it engineer who set up the line? Or was it the designer? Or the data scientist? Maybe it was just the algorithm, so it's not a human being anymore. Responsibility becomes a fog. And third, values moves into the system. So algorithms become carriers of human priorities, not because they understand values, but because they operationalize them. So if we optimize for speed, we get a speed. If we optimize cost, we get cost. So if we optimize on safety, we get safety. But we can't optimize on everything. So every system makes the choice, and every choice is a value. So one of the principles of Kranzberg says technology is neither good or bad, nor is neutral. Every system drives reality in some direction. So the question is, in which direction? And is it the direction we would like to go? So the real risk is the compression of values. The values don't disappear, they are getting compressed. So we have less time, we have less context, we have more pressure. We stop seeing long-term consequences. Automation accelerates everything. Decisions become faster, narrower, and more constrained. And we stop thinking critically. Systems fill the gap with their own logic. So let me give me the real example. In the industrial environment, predictive maintenance system is very important. And different AI tools and different automation are introduced in different factories to reduce downtime. And it works usually well. But after a few months, operators stop reporting small anomalies. And why? Because the system didn't flag them. And if the system doesn't flag them, the operator assumes that the defects doesn't matter. The anomalies are not impacting the process at all. But in reality, we know that it matters. And the anomalies are early sign for the major failure. The system didn't move human judgment. It compressed it. It squeezed into the smaller and smaller space. So that is the moment when values become invisible. So the question is not what do we automate decisions. Automation is here in our daily life. It's growing and growing, and we are moving into the AI world. The real question is, do our systems still reflect human values? Because we decide what is the value we want. And the future we build, will depend on decisions we automate and the values we refuse to lose. So here is my ask to you. Don't just design the system, design decisions. Don't just automate processes, automate with intention. Don't just trust the algorithm. Ask what value it carries and what value it hides. In our industry world, we called one important document. It's user requirement specification. In this document, we can find a lot of technical details, but as well, we should find the values which are going with the projects, because values are not the statements, and values are our decisions. So the decisions we make today will shape the world we live in tomorrow. So thank you very much, and as in 3M, we improve the lives and we apply science to life. I will not talk about the products we are making, but I just would like to highlight that every human being, according to the scientist research, is touching at least 17 times per day 3M products. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We are proud to have graduates like this who not just are industry leaders, but also think that values actually matter and we should follow them. So thank you so much for that address. So I see my friend Rafał who helped us to arrange everything in the technicalities running to, because we have to change to Deputy Mayor's presentation. Before I invite him, I would like to mention that Craft has been very, very fortunate to have support from the city. Deputy Mayor has always been a really fair advisor, supporter. And we also have the team of Startup Wrocław here. We have Paulina, Maciej, Krisha, and the head of, the president of ARAF, Dr. Magdalena Okolowska. She has also been very supportive to us in a lot of things. We have got access to things that probably people get after 2 years in the market, but we got it on day one. So we are very thankful to the city that we got this opportunity, of course, through Politechnika Wrocławska. So I would like to, thank you on her behalf to all of you. So I would like to now take this opportunity to invite Mayor Mazur. So I will mention that it was a very interesting profile when I read, so I will read out as it is. So born on 21st May of 1977 in Wrocław, graduate of University of Economics, former the Academy of Economics in Wrocław from 1995 to 2000, and University of Wrocław Faculty of Law and Administration from 1997 to 2002. He has 25 years of experience in business, companies from various economic sectors, corporate and strategic consulting, company creation, including startups, entrepreneur and promoter, successfully introduced business entities in the stock exchange. His areas of expertise are very diverse, from IT to spatial planning, urban planning, energy, advertising, market strategy, construction industry, foreign investment, B2B relations. When I was reading, when I reached to this point, I thought, like, how many PhDs somebody can actually do. So it was really great to read that. That's why I said it's very interesting. He has experience with B2B relations. He is a co-creator of Success of the European Capital of Culture in 2006 in Wrocław. Deputy Mayor of Wrocław since 2018. He directly oversees the Department of Strategy and Sustainable Development. Representative of the city in national and representative of the city in national and international associations and institutions. He is responsible for creating and implementing strategic documents of the city, agglomeration, and the region with a perspective of up to 2050. Member of international organizations representing the city in international relations, and he is also the member of European Regional Executive Committee of ICLEI and co-chair of the Committee on Local Government Structure, Urban and Metropolitan Areas at the Joint Commission of the Government and Local Government. So he brings in a very diverse and a vast experience. So I would like to invite Mayor Mazur to please do his address, and Rafał, please change the slide.
Thank you, Mr. Rector, dear friend, distinguished host and guest. It's always good to hear some things that you don't remember about yourself, and your introduction, I feel that it can be longer than my speech that I prepared, but getting to the point, I'm very happy I'm here. This is third time today I'm meeting Polytechnic society and community, and I'm very glad. And I've been waiting for this. Thank you for your hard work, all the team. I'm glad that I'm together with my friends from municipality. I see a lot of familiar faces, but let me start with the reaction of what our Swedish Madam Professor bring into. I'm a little bit concerned because, you know, I don't have time. I'm a book lover, and because of you, my reading list is longer. I don't know what to do with this, but I will manage one day, for sure. And also, I'm very happy that what Dominka said, Thank God we are not factory. You know, we have this space for our intuition, and governing the city is something different. But what we are trying to achieve is being as a factory, trying to implement technology, of course, as a human being, and being more efficient of what we are doing. And I have this crafted, especially presentation for you today, and it is also made with AI, of course, but the text is mine, so if there are any misspelling or lack of mistakes in translation, so sorry for that, and I hope you don't mind it. We started with the discussion about how city is working, and there is no one definition. And what I wish is always to find a dedicated definition that suits you, that provides better quality, that brings added value and brings competitiveness, some advantage. So, you know, there is in a city, when we are trying to use technology for the last 20 years, we've been using smart city. And I must say that it was sexy 20 years ago, but not anymore, in my opinion. From the perspective of many conferences I have visited, it's like 10 years ago, we get bored with this because it was about the technical gadgets that appears on the spot of our streets and disappearing because it's hard to scale up with many dimensions. So we started to think about why city. This is much deeper. This is the way that we are trying to think in the future. So the approach of the mayor, his advisors, universities that support us, it is about bring some kind of wisdom, long-term thinking. Again, getting back to your presentation, it is not reaction. It is not this anticipatory adaptation. It is more about, okay, let's find time for wisdom, for long-term thinking. And I love this approach. And it is remarkable also for us. So we have lots of gadgets, lots of potential application near us, on us, in us, and we are using this. But it's really hard to get some values, decisions, as you said at your presentations. Values like trust. And trust is essential, especially in public. You know it. Working for public as university, it's kind of basement, fundamental value that you need to build for, not only for yourself, but also for staff. But smart city, wise city, it's also a market, and we see it. Every day I face or meet or accept some invitation for private companies. It's not for Capgemini. Capgemini is very fair. They support us. They don't want anything from us, so they are good partners. And they are good employees as well for being located here. And I'm curious about this application. I will see how it works. But as you see, because of specific situation in Wrocław, you know, we double our population in the last 25, 30 years. So it means we are popular. You see, by 2050, cities are going to be even more popular, attractive. So we are going to suck up those people who are coming from region, unfortunately, for them, of course. And at the same time, this is a challenge because technology is developed very rapidly, and it changes very rapidly. And institutions, sometimes I think we are working based on 19th century rules in a municipality. Also in university, you sense it, Mr. Rector, don't you? But what we want to have, it's like not the technology, but imagination or maybe a dream what city should look like, what should be the fundamental capital. And again, I put trust, but these are values, values that are about human-centric, about resources that we have, so green and resilient city, those are the pillars, and of course open governance. You spoke about democracy, inclusive models, and this is the core of what we are trying to achieve. So the trust is our capital, and technology our resource. But I would say 5, maybe 10 years ago, we thought about technology as some salvation, maybe the solution for our challenges. Now we switch into something different, especially when we shaped, together with business, 3M was involved, Capgemini was involved, Polytechnic was involved, so thank you again. We had this, so we put values. It's been always like that. Our previous 3 strategies were based on values, so beauty, wisdom, security. Previously, it was we wish we were beauty, wise, and wealthy. Security is even wider, because it's more than being wealthy this time. And it is about goals that we have. So, of course, we have education, thanks to Mr. Rector, because he was also consulting this. Culture, as you see. So soft power and inclusive dimension, it is. But you have also technology, but in horizontal dimension that we put to cut off all those silos that are appearing, obviously. And especially in public sector, you experience this a lot. So you have it, technologies in service for people. This is like the random, my own translation, so it should be slightly different. Sorry for that. So what is our role as a city, as we have this strategy? We believe in technology, but in service for our inhabitants, present and future one. So for sure we need to set up standards. What is it about? Of course, as we are located in Europe, we have AI Act, we have some very sophisticated laws that we need to follow. But we can create our own accessibility to data that we already have. But what I love is to integrate. And only this week, we had very promising discussions with our ICT faculty, with professors, with scientists coming from this university about how to create the tailored, dedicated instrument that will work for citizens of Wrocław, based on Plum, so the large linguistic models that are made in Wrocław. I'm very proud of this, and we are working to scale up it and to make it even easier, efficient. As you see, if we are going to increase the number of inhabitants, it means we will have more challenges, because our inhabitant is a challenge. So now it's more or less 1 million. We don't have this manual, as you said, Dominika. What was it? Integrate, I don't remember, but we don't have it. We need to deal every time, every case by case. So it is about integration of business, science, opportunities, new inhabitants, migration, demography, society, vulnerable groups that are appearing and they have special needs. And it is also about operating. So, for instance, nowadays we invest every year more than billions water on infrastructure, on solution, not to mention more than 3 billion for education only. So you see, it is constant improving, but in a wise way. Long-term thinking, to be attractive, to have this competitiveness and advantage that is more than just a technical solution that can be replaced or useless because it is not modern anymore. And of course, with this comes questions, because yes, 95%, sometimes 99% of processes is like repeatable, and it's easy to put it in machine. And we are doing this, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, this 1%, 5%, sometimes 10% in more complicated cases needs to be judged, adapted, evaluated, assessed by human. Because we are living body. We are a community of living people, and especially those who are in need, they are true representatives of efficiency of the city, not those silent, satisfied, or at least accepting part of the society. We have temptation to put everything, to rule as a king. Or maybe 1 year, it would be amazing story, to have this authority and not to look at those tough zones of our activity. But it would be exclusion, not exclusive, not inclusive. And this is against our policy. And that's why we believe that most of things that we can be automated shouldn't be, because of single cases and people who are expecting to be treated with dignity, with individual approach, with some demands. So because of this, of course, we have bottom-up initiatives. More than $500 million of participatory budget was spent during last years. So those initiatives comes from districts, streets, neighborhoods, and people, and they are also about solutions. Technical, ICT solutions, not to mention our own cases. So this is smart mobility that prioritizes public transport. Probably some of you use public transport, and every time you see that people in cars are waiting on, students now are driving cars mostly, aren't you? But this is because we have prediction model. We have AI models that gives green way to public transport for this mobility. We are taking care because of this and our investment in technology to pedestrians, cyclists, and those who are also moving on last mile. It takes 1 billion a year. I mean, public transport with these ICT systems that are trying to prevent crises. This is water also. So, yes, this year we had a flood in the city center, and we have this prediction model. So we have, I always call them minions, so despicable me. Yeah, there are minions, so we put them in pipes with microphones and cameras, and they are predicting what is happening because they sense some micro breaks or anything. And we knew that the pipe in the city center is going to break, but in December. But it happened in January, unfortunately. That's a pricey lesson, but we learn, and we are very satisfied we have it. We also put some minions in space, micro, nano satellites, and to collect property taxes, and there are plenty of solutions. And I love it. But this is again, spot by spot. In our dream, in our approach, is to have it as an integrated white city. You see those blocks, so I wish it was 2035 and we had this platform. We had the umbrella approach, not the spots, not only the gadgets, technical gadgets that are implemented and do not cover. It is about now integration, and hopefully we'll get it with the best leading companies, but also because we have based here many solutions, we will be able to deliver something that will be scalable and through the Ministry of Digitalization also spread around another municipalities for glory of Wrocław and Technical University, Mr. Rector. But I would say, you mentioned that we are active as a city on European stage. We have this Competitiveness Act. And as a Europe, I feel obliged, also as a deputy mayor, but as an inhabitant of this wonderful city, to put some added value. So since we have this connection with local scientists, LLMs, companies, global companies, but with local leaders who have wisdom, vision, courage to put something beyond imagination even. So we are in charge of also being competitive on worldwide stage. So it is about governments. It is about inclusiveness. It is, in fact, about democracy that we all created through technology and thanks to technology, but always in the human-centric approach. So I believe Wrocław is at least partially ready for these keywords, as you mentioned, responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I mentioned that we want all the stakeholders to interact. So now we heard from the academia, we heard from the business, we heard from the policy. But now we want to give a chance to all of you, because as citizens, as students, as people in the society, you should be able to ask questions to people from university, people from business, and people from academia. So now I would like to first mention that we have two special guests also with us who are going to be on our keynote panels in the coming days. We have with us Professor Luke Georgiou from the University of Manchester, who will be in the keynote panel tomorrow morning. So, thank you. You're welcome, sir. So I hope that all of you will come back in the morning, so just a little bit of publicity. We also have Dr. Jennifer Kessing-Jenna-Harper, who is the consultant of policy and strategy at Genja, Malta, formerly known as the Malta Council of Science and Technology. So we have university and policy there. Welcome, ma'am. Okay, now I would like to request our keynote speakers, Professor Gasson, Dominika, Professor Mayor, please to join us for answering some questions from the public, from the audience. Yes, anywhere. As you see here, please. Sorry? Oh, I have to change the slide. Everything. Okay, now it makes sense. Okay, so I would like to open the floor for, does anybody have any questions to our guests? Are you going to leave the responsibility on me? Okay, so then I will speak on your behalf then. Thank you all for your really wonderful address. You really showed the vision of the panel from 3 different sides, which was the purpose, and thank you so much for that. So my question to all 3 of you, what is your perspective of what the others on the panel said on the same topic? Because from our perspective, it would be good to have either supportive or conflicting opinion on, because conflicting is even better, because that's fun, you know, Instagrammable, just no pun intended. So I would maybe like to start with Dominika, please. Yeah, yes, please.
Should I take it just, yeah?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to get the conflicting opinions, yeah, because I think that we all agree that the technology is needed and the world is moving into this direction. And every of us, just in area of interest we are working in, have to use it responsibly and just need to adopt the usage of the technology and the future AI development into the current state. So I think that with Mr. Mayor we cooperate a lot, and we know I was born in Wrocław, so as Jakub, so I'm with the city every day, every night, and as a factory leader, I'm just willing to help our city to be as good as possible employer for the citizens, to ensure that the sustainability for my neighborhood is kept, that we are working with different NGOs, because this is a power. I'm passionate about STEM. So working with universities, it's something we are doing on a daily basis, plus schools, elementary schools. This is as well the target. We would like to make bigger interest of kids in the science. So I think that we are fully aligned, and it's very difficult to find the platform where we can disagree. So maybe other guests will have other opinion.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. Well, I do agree. So also on this, we agree. I thought the three presentations were very well aligned, in fact, and that we spoke about the value of values, as it were, from different contexts. And I was very inspired to hear how values are at the core of the development of technologies and products. But also, you gave me something very important to think about, how values can be compressed when we are pressed for time and when we allow systems to drive the way without stopping and thinking about what that might entail. So that's a very good way of expressing the challenges that I think many industries are facing, and also all of us actually in our daily lives. And I was also very inspired to hear you talk about the wise city and the beautiful city and the safe, secure city, and how values are underlying the kind of pathway you want to articulate for this beautiful city. So maybe there's something there that this city has cultivated this awareness. I don't know. I started to think that it might be something that is cultivated here, an awareness of the importance of human values in whatever kind of activity we are involved in. So that might be a question for you, locals. But no, it's difficult to detect any tensions, so that might be bad for the discussion. But perhaps the tension arises when we don't have time to stop and reflect in whichever activity, business, public service, or academia we are involved in. So let's get together and talk more.
Thank you. Mayor Mazur?
First of all, I need to admit, yes, Wrocław is very special about everything, in a positive way, of course. Yeah, we are proud of the spirit of the city, and together with 3M, Dominka, we are working on the many dimensions. Of course, I'm always very grateful because she created a huge, amazing tax base. So we are all gaining some money for public sector also because of the success story of 3M and hard work of our CEOs, and all this industrial zone, business zone, always feel well here because we have capacity, talent pool, wonderful educated because of these university students who are dedicated, hardworking people, intelligent. Also, we try to be inclusive for any kind of community and inhabitants who are, everybody is welcome. So that's the spirit. But I would say that I'm always very curious, and since previously I was also involved in many businesses, so I was running several businesses by myself, but after those years, and you need to count it as double, because it's so dense, or maybe even more, I'd love to hear this approach that is coming from factory, for these manuals, for these procedures that are very efficient and have scenarios for almost any case, and shares responsibility as well. That's a great peace of mind. I mean, how to invent, how to come up with this. And I was also very surprised about what you said, Christina, about this tension that is coming and the threats, independency of academic world in Europe. I wasn't aware of that, and even talking and discussing with my friends from universities, I thought everything is fine, especially here in Europe. And just to end the story, I would say that the biggest difference is always when we come off the Europe. And for instance, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we visited this smart city, Taipei, so Taiwan, very technical approach, technological, and it's something really different. And when you see the operational or crisis managing center or also public transport, this is like, yeah, like in factory. You sense it. So probably, and I wish, we will never follow this path. We are more about soft power, more about looking for this human part of our society with respect.
Thank you. So, I was not surprised. I asked AI by asking that we will have 3 speakers, and if I ask them to say something conflicting about each other, none of them will say that. So AI was right, I guess. Right, so anybody has any questions? Oh, yes, great. Could we give a microphone, please? All right, here, take this. Thank you.
So, hello, my name is Daulet Bagdatov. I'm studying in Politechnika Wrocławska in management faculty. So, I have a question for all of you. Now, in our world, technology is we have innovations in technologies, mostly in AI sphere. So, what do you think? How the AI technologies, developing AI technology, will affect on you aspects of you professional aspects, like the urbanization policy, in the study in university, or even the business? How will AI affect in our future, in the 20-25 years? What is your vision on the developing?
Great. Your reflections?
I can start because it's easy for me. I mean, not in 25 years, I believe in 2 to 5 years we will have completely changed. You must be aware that we collect too much data nowadays, and we have not a clue what to do with this, and we are not using this, not in a proper way, not in a bad way. We are not doing the good job. And thanks to every month, every quarter, those tools that are appearing and those tools that we are working on to aggregate the base of data that we are collecting every day, terabytes, petabytes. I don't know how big it is, because this is big city, so you can imagine from 2,000 cameras how many data you can collect from 1,000 buses, and it's a tremendous number. And I am hoping that because of this, and because of this automatization in a scale that we can put together human being and the some robotic or algorithm, we will deliver better quality. We will use this data to develop our city, ourselves, our community, to improve the bottom level, to rise it up. And it is nothing but the huge opportunity to all of us. And I'm very excited. And I see some threats, of course. I see some, but I believe, especially in Europe, under our consideration it's not only AI Act, but it's ethical approach that it is in our DNA. So we will be very careful about this. And I expect only good things, and very soon, not in 20 years.
Professor?
Yes, thank you for that question. So we are already living in that future. AI is already affecting our universities, the way we seek knowledge, the way we evaluate knowledge, the way we think about the future. Students are using it to write papers. We're using it to interpret interviews. We are using it to sometimes also rank candidates to academic positions. And we are sometimes using it to help prepare the writing of books. So it's there, and it has a great potential. But when you try using it, I'm sure you have tried, all of you, I have tried too, it gives you something that is oftentimes not very well thought through. It may even be false, or it may be nonsensical. So it will require that we develop another potential to critically evaluate, to reflect, and to think ourselves about how to improve what AI is giving us. So we'll have to change our systems in that direction to be able to evaluate more critically what AI serves us. And if we do that, I think we have a chance of using it productively, creatively, and efficiently, because it can also help us in so many ways. But the big challenge is really to make better use of our brains, our integrity, our critical thinking. So that has to become top of the agenda, I think, in the future, across faculty in all disciplines. And if we take that seriously, it can help us in some good ways.
So, in industry case, I think that the great force, great power of AI is that it will help me in the prediction of any catastrophic events in terms of safety, in terms of quality, in terms of productivity. So this is just more or less same as Jakub said. The data will be analyzed and we will be able to act faster. And another thing is that we will have more time for creativity. Because when you will start to work in the big company, you will see how much time we spend of explaining data, on explaining things which happened. And then the piece for being creative is very limited. So I count on AI that instead of reading 20 emails per 5 minutes, you know, I will get the summary, hourly summary with everything what is important, and the rest I can spend on really creative ideas.
So from recap, I think maybe we should have a mail cap, maximum 5 per day. Thank you. I hope that answers the question. Thank you for it. We had another question here. Irina, yes.
Thank you. I have rather comment. I think my name is Irina. I'm from International Rescue Committee, and would like to express sincere gratitude for the invitation, Yash, and for such a beautiful panel and wisdom and kindness that has been shared today. Because in the morning I was in the conference participating where honorary generals of Polish army were sharing awareness about raising awareness regarding the current world we're living right now, where disinformation is a norm, where cybersecurity is not as secure as we thought, where the NATO standards are not applied in a way they had to, in a way that, as Vice Mayor mentioned, that there is so much data that it's not segmented, and there are no proper programs for segmental approach using this data and defending this data. And your presentations were so optimistic and so honorary, like in a context that there is a hope. Really, I was listening to each presentation and was thankful, really, because there is so rare when we speak about values, when we speak that these values, that we build capital, and this capital is trust, that the values is the transformation that we use, and that AI is addressed and directed by values. I think this is an amazing solution that can be repeated on a number of conferences. And one of the moderators today from Cyber Defense 24, he was actually asking about values today, because we were speaking so much about cyber and so on, preventions. And I think such events and sharing this approach related to values is something that global societies, not only in Poland and namely in Wrocław, are like thirsty to hear, because there is so small number of lacking such approach, both on the level of administration, or level of universities and academia in general, and of course in the corporational world. I think this is the amazing feeling of having fresh air, that value drafted approach is really applied. So thank you very much.
Believe me, Irina, we can complain. Yes, we do.
Yes. But thank you, Irina. You know, you did 50% of the job that I had to do afterwards, because the summary is already there, it's already recorded. But yeah, it's important points that you made, so and the reflections. So it's good to have stakeholder reflections on what you said. So this also matters, so still no conflict there. So that's great. Anyone else has any questions? Yes. Yeah, please.
Hello, my name is Michał Adamski. I'm from Capgemini, leading Innovation Hub at Capgemini. I would like to ask maybe a question to Dominika. Do you believe, because you have spoken about the values and the shift from operator to the system designer, so do you think the companies should be required to audit the values embedded in their systems? And maybe a second question, do we have a risk of outsourcing the ethical decisions to the systems?
I think definitely we cannot outsource the ethical decision to the systems, yeah? But this is what I mentioned. When we are designing the solutions, we need to incorporate at the same time the values into the solution. But sometimes we are buying the product out of the shell. So always we are assessing through the price, through the technological capabilities, but also we need to keep in mind if the values which are important for this process, for this environment, are kept. So I would say it's rather should be added into the risk assessment of the tool implementation than delegating the ethical compliance to somebody else.
Great. Does answer your questions, I guess? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our Vice Dean of Social Affairs from Faculty of Management, Professor Ivo.
Joanna Iwko, Faculty of Management. I have a very short question for you. What is the main or the common value for public sector, for industry sector, and for academia? Simple or not simple question?
It's short, about simple.
Short, but not simple.
But for me, it's obvious. It's wisdom. It's the value that we share.
I agree.
Maybe trust.
Okay.
I think there are so many that I cannot select one, so it's very difficult question, yeah? Very difficult.
Okay, if you had to choose one, the top value?
Don't put the pressure on me.
No. So she will also choose wisdom, so that will be all right.
Yeah, but today we were discussing also with the Dean that we are lucky in Wrocław. We have 30 universities, we have more than 100,000 students, international, everybody is blooming, looking for opportunity, writing excellent PhDs, and preparing some master thesis for professor, and yes, so we have this grant to expand and to develop ourselves, but most of mid-sized cities are not. And this is the difficulty of, we are lucky because we are maybe one of 5 big cities that is increasing population in Poland, but the rest is not. So you can imagine among 500 cities that you can count, mid-size and small one, most of them, or all of them, are losing population, are losing functions. So it doesn't mean that it needs to be like the sad story for them. But because of demographic situation, the university, technical university, faculty of management has also a role as a city, maybe to support Wałbrzych, maybe to be active in post-regional capitals as Wałbrzych, like Nica, Jelenia Góra in Dolnośląskie, because they used to be blooming cities, now they are very following down community. And it's a sad story because if we or if we concentrate only on capitals, okay, for us it's also demanding because too many of us, too many functions, too many demands, too fast life. So we are, and I'm personally advocating for metropolitan approach to have better connection to those cities like Wałbrzych, 30 minutes by train, and we can live and work in many places happily, with good quality of life, affordably.
Great. Somebody has any questions? Because I have one very important one, but yes. Please.
Thanks, thank you. Actually, I work in the area of foresight, so very much focused on the future. And I heard among all of the speakers, this sort of you were resonating about better futures, trying to visualize them, trying to realize them. Actually, how do we realize these better futures? And I was just wondering about history at the same time, and values which are linked to our history. And my question would be sort of how can we draw out from our history what is good and what is intrinsically part of us, that if we lose it, it's like we're losing a connection somehow. I come from a small country where we have undergone tremendous change in the last decade, and it's like everything is shifting underneath us, and some things are happening in a positive way, and other things it feels like we're losing something. We're losing some of our traditions, and yet you do have people, who are kind of championing how to keep those traditions alive, and how to have those traditions in a way merge in a positive way within the current realities that we're living in. So I'm just wondering if this is something that you are also dealing with in your in the work that you're doing, this kind of dichotomy between history and a better future.
Wow, that's a very interesting question. Thank you. Reflections? Maybe now there will be some fun. More fun.
Okay, I'll give it a try. Yes, a question that could actually best be discussed in a long seminar, but we will not. But indeed, history is very important, and it is embedded in our present and in our futures. There's no way we can live without also living with our histories. And if you look around you here, there's a lot of history to be interpreted and articulated around the architecture, about the way we sit, the way we organize conferences, the way we organize cities or industries. History is with us. We carry it, we embody it. So our job really, and not least in places like this, is to make history present in teaching, in education, so that we can reflect on it and bring forward what we choose to bring in terms of values, also in technology, and perhaps to improve the values that we feel that we need to improve. So it's definitely alive, and I think it should be so, but we have, as human beings, when we, and not AI, reflect critically, we have the ability to decide also what we bring forth with us to some extent, to learn from the past, so not to repeat the mistakes that have been repeatedly made also in history. So it's a dynamic thing. History, it's definitely there. There's no future without the present and a history, I would like to say. Just to become conscious of it. And today we had a tour. I had the pleasure of going around in the city and on campus to be guided. And I learned about the history of this city. I learned about some industries, and I learned about the university here. That's also a way to bring to life history to visitors like me and others, to bring with us to where we go next. So you're doing it here at the university in this city. You're also bringing some values to life repeatedly.
Yeah, if I may just add, because this topic for hours, and I love it, the history of this place, but I'm really proud of the 1,000 years old history that used to be Polish, Czech for 500 years, then Prussian, then you had Bismarck, Napoleon, so French city for a while. Then you had, before Habsburg family, then the Hohenzollern, then you had Bismarck, then you had Hitler and Stalin, then you had modern times, again Polish. We are a European city, and we are very proud. You know, we have like more than a dozen Nobel Prize winners, mostly German Jews, but they are ours. We are a European city. This is, you should read Microcosm by Norman Davies. This is whole history of this, the mixture of what is the best and sometimes the worst in history of Europe.
Amazing. Dominika, would you like to say something on this?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the previous speakers. I think that the key is to learn on the history, on the successes, on the crises, and you know, in manufacturing we are looking a little bit shorter on the history of the site. So my site is only 20 years old, so it's a kid. Yeah. However, for this 20 years, so many things happened, and unfortunately, sometimes we repeat our mistakes, and how not to lose the memory of good things and bad things is a challenge, because good things we always remember, bad things rather we forget very easily. And yeah, this is the challenge in my area, yeah, to collect all the defects which happened in the past and prevent them.
Awesome. Anybody else? Final questions? Oh, at the back. Yes, question from the back is always important, the most important. I was always a backbencher in the class, but I had the most questions. Please.
I hope so. So thank you for your presentations. I have a question to Mr. Jakub Mazur. So as a civil engineer, this is like a kind of interesting question for me. So considering your prediction about the pipe accident, you said that we predicted it should be in December, but it happened on January. So I guess like your prediction was very good, like it predicted the year, the season, and the region. You said that it's like it would be in the city center. but the event unfortunately happened. So I'm interested, like, what was the reason not to take an action? Like, you relied on your prediction too much, and you said that, oh, it will be happen in December, or there was some uncertainties that you didn't take an action before January? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. This is a technical question. We have these prediction models. So you can imagine with thousands of pipes underground, and there are thousands of potential micro breaks. And we learn, our model is learn how to predict the exact date. And it's even counted with days or maybe weeks. I'm not so sure, but I can provide you the exact answer. And that was like, okay, we had it on a list because it was huge pipe. And we wanted to make this in May, the reparation. So, 6 or 7 months before predicted break. But it happened, the life is unpredictable. So, this is the lesson that we learned. And of course, probably it will put some, maybe it has already, has the wages of the bigger pipes should be a year before, or maybe we'll change the algorithm of this. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? No. Okay, so I have one final question. No, Rasul, yes, please.
Hello, my name is Rasul Bulatla. I'm a student of Faculty of Management, and I have 2 questions, one for all of the guests and one silly question for Deputy Mayor from me and my friends and other students. So the first question is pretty similar to my colleagues, but with some more details. Regarding to the fact of rapid technological advance that we're facing in our modern world, we're shifting from reactionary governance into predictive governance. What do you think? How it will change our society and the way how individuals are pursuing their own lives?
So was that the first question, and you will wait for the second, or you want to ask?
Yes.
You can ask. You should hear. Okay, let's see the answer to the first question then.
Well, I can respond from my point of view. Me and a colleague, we wrote about what we call anticipatory governance to actually reflect what you were talking about and asking about, that we see that increasingly anticipatory thinking, anticipatory types of knowledge, predictions of various kinds are being brought into decision-making of a number of organizations across the field. And this is done in order to prevent damage or to make better, predictions about when a certain event should actually take place, or to be prepared for population changes or whatever. So this is becoming a normalcy these days, anticipatory governance. It will be very difficult for any organization to make decisions that have an impact on the present and the future without having some sort of anticipatory action. The problem is that, to go back to our discussion of values, when we anticipate, when we predict, when we use technologies to predict, there are values underlying the instruments we use. So what the instruments are, what values they actually are articulating, and what kinds of visions that the organizations have, it will decide how governance will be affected in the future. So it's good if all sectors of society become aware of this, not least the educational system, that we are already thinking ahead in what kind of values we seek to nurture in the young student population.
Okay, so the second question was to Mir Mazur.
For Mayor, right.
Maybe a short one.
Yeah, it's a short one. So actually, it's a silly question regarding to the Wrocław. As Wrocław is planning to grow and become bigger and so on, logistics is one of the most important parts, as we believe. So among students, at least among my friends, there is rumors that Wrocław is planning to build a metro system, and we just wanted to point out if it's true or not.
You know, the story of metro is as old as Wrocław, of course, so 1,000 years old. But yes, this is not only a rumors, and together with Polytechnic, we've been working on this like 20 years from now, but we need to adapt. And thanks to the opportunity that comes from money from defense, we are about to reach some solution that is dual use. So it will be metro system, partially underground, and of course shelter, I hope never used. So there is something tangible on a table that is happening, and we are trying to use every opportunity. If not, we have a plan. It was written by scientists from your university, and it needs to be adapted. It will take a long way, probably, a lot of money, but as soon as we reach 1 million population, now it's 900, 950, it varies. So it will be necessity for us, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I think we started 15 minutes late and we are ending 24 minutes late, so not bad for me being Indian. It's like Indian Standard Time. So I would like you all to thank the speakers for their wonderful insight and speeches and reflections. Thank you so much. Okay. Could I request everybody to come and join us for a group photograph?